Highlights from the 128th big game. Thanks for watching. Go Bears.
Pain, sorrow. I think I speak for every Cal fan on the planet right now when saying we all could use a big hug today. What a thoroughly depressing way to lose the axe after having won 4 straight big games. And it was just announced on Sunday that head coach Justin Wilcox has been relieved of his duties. Welcome to Tell the Whole Damn World in our weekly football recap episode. It's Sunday night, November 23rd, 2025, and after losing to Stanford 31-10 in a game every Cal fan fully expected to win, even the late great Bud Dog Turner might admit that maybe it isn't necessarily a great day to be a Bear. It's always at least a good day to be a Bear because we are and will always be the University of California. But getting blown out in a game against your rival where you felt like you had the better team, great might be stretching it a bit for today. I'm your host, Reza. We appreciate you tuning in to commiserate with us. We're the podcast that celebrates all things Cal. We produce on-camera interviews with the prominent people associated with UC Berkeley, known to many as the center of the universe. And we share stories about the rich history and traditions of the University of California. We hope to put a smile on your face and help you come away feeling good about your connection to the greatest university on the planet. Please tell all your Cal friends about us. You can share us on social media, and please remember that if you missed any of our previous featured guest or Cal history episodes over the past year, yes, believe it or not, but we've been at this for almost exactly 1 year now. You can simply go to tellthewholedamnworld.com to view our entire episode library. And I want to address a comment from a loyal listener last night saying we're too positive and haven't been openly campaigning for a change at head coach. I really appreciate the passion and that you want what's best for the Cal football program. With regard to positivity, I'm not quite sure what to tell you. I don't see any of us parading around and saying it's all great. I've always firmly believed that you need to celebrate when you can in life. Celebrate each win because nothing is given. Like the motto for the rugby team, grateful for everything, entitled to nothing. Life is far too short and way too hard for many to live life being pessimistic. And you may think I'm a hippie for saying it, but I firmly believe that bad vibes attract more bad vibes. When you think positively, good things generally happen. I've always been an optimistic and enthusiastic guy. And I think that's a big reason why I've led a pretty charmed life. And I want to bring that same positivity to this podcast. And I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that head coach Justin Wilcox has been fired. But we're not here to campaign for a coach to be fired. That's not our place. We want to be as supportive of our players and of the program as possible. Are we oblivious to what has been said and the feeling of the fan base? Of course not. But if you're looking for doom and gloom, you can get that somewhere else. Like many people have said, our job as fans is to show up and support the team. We've all agreed that we trust in Ron Rivera to run the program. So now is the time we put our trust in Ron. Let him do his job and figure out the path forward for our football program. But I will say it's probably going to be the most critical offseason we've ever had. I don't think any of us know for sure what will happen next. But I can confirm that former Tell the Whole Damn World featured guest Nick Rolovich has been elevated to interim head coach. We're going to get right into our recap/post-mortem here in a moment. But before we do, I want to thank all of you who tuned in and watched our first live stream pregame broadcast at Alumni House before the men's basketball game versus Sacramento State on Friday night. That was a lot of fun, and we couldn't be more appreciative of the Cal Alumni Association for hosting us. We'll keep you posted when we do it again this season when we play high-profile games against teams like Duke, North Carolina, and Stanford. So please tune in to check us out. Now let me bring in my co-host, Ahmad Anderson and David Ortega, 2 Cal Hall of Fame football players to talk about the game. As you all know, Ahmad is the former defensive back who created Bear territory when he was on the 1982 Cal team, and David Ortega racked up an astounding 525 tackles in his playing career to cement his legacy as the all-time leading tackler in Cal history. And guys, I'm not even sure what we can say about Saturday's big game. Where do you guys want to begin?
Sure. I would like to talk about the game first, but before that, I want to say thank you to Justin Wilcox because I really believe he led us in a path where, I believe that he never lost the locker room. The thing about coaches are they're there to create an environment that you can be successful for. Okay. And I thought Justin did that. I also thought that Justin backed his players and were there for them, and the players loved him. So I think that that's important for everybody to understand. Now, it could Justin be this or that a little bit different in some other way of coaching? Absolutely. I know he's going to take a hard look at his body of work and how it all worked out. But as a former Cal football player and as a person in the stands who's part of this community, I just want to thank him because he put everything he had into it. And this is where we say goodbye. But Justin's awesome. I love that guy. I was with him when we were on the staff together, Tedford staff together when he was a linebacker coach. And we got to know each other. I just knew how hard he worked, how much he cared, and how much he put into it, and how much his players absolutely loved him because he's a guy that is committed to making the players better on and off the field. So thank you to Justin. I believe you're going to have great things going on in your life to continue. And this is a detour or another fork in the road that you might have. But other than that, you're going to be great because you're a good man. He's an absolute good man. So if you want doom and gloom, go somewhere else because this ain't it. We'll get down and we will be a little bit feisty here and there, grumpy bears or whatever, but we're not doom and gloom here. Doom and gloom is for other people. Doom and gloom is for all those people who want to be, who want to get people to spike up and down with their emotions and all that. That's not us. We're here to talk about Cal football in a positive manner and then analyzing what we see on the field. So that's what we're doing here. I'm not gonna get involved in any of that stuff. I just want to get involved with who we are as a Cal football environment, a Cal football community. That's what I want to talk about. So let's keep it to that and let's keep going. Ahmad?
Yeah, since this is not this is a G-rated show, Imma keep it right there. Uh, you know, and just say this to the person who thinks we need to be doom and gloom. We can have that conversation at another time, another place. You can come see me and we can have that conversation. But for those of us who are not sitting in the peanut gallery, for those of us who have played the game, it is a lot for a coach to do what they do, going around different places, lining up behind schools that they did not even go to, and then decide to commit themselves to being at our university, where football has always not been balanced and supported. When the gentleman had the opportunity to go to his alma mater, where he was a star, and be paid big money, much more money than he was getting paid here at Cal. But he believed in what he was doing. He believed in the kids. He believed in the University of California in Berkeley, what we stand for, to ensure that not only do they have a great experience on the field, but a great experience in their psychosocial development and life after leaving the university as graduates of the University of California at Berkeley. Now, I appreciate your comments, but as the famous woman said a couple years ago, ain't nobody got time for all of that. And that's just where we are. To the guys on the team, look, I experienced what they went through when I was with Roger Theater. And in the middle of the season, they're talking about getting rid of your coach. In the beginning of the season, after a 2-9 or 3-8 seasons we had the two other seasons previously, and he came back. This is not a happy moment for anybody. Those kids, young men, have developed relationship with that head coach and that coaching staff. Parents have believed in that coach and that coaching staff, and they stayed. when they had opportunities to leave, and we need to remember that. Wilcox is not only a good coach, but he's my friend. And I've had real conversations with him, and he cares about the organization. And yes, we have new leadership now. Chancellor, co-athletic directors, we have a GM. So the world moves on. This is where we are at. And as our favorite trainer, our most famous athletic trainer, Bob Orr, said, that's ball. That's ball. And we move forward. So let's be positive. Let's keep the party going with the Bears we have. In Ron Rivera, we trust. That's my guy. I played ball with him. We know what he's capable of doing, and we're going to make it happen. That's it. And we wish you well, Justin.
One more thing on that. I also went through a coaching change between Joe Cap, who recruited me, the feisty gentleman who I just thought I could absolutely love to play for, and I did. Great guy. And then he left, and I temporarily thought about transferring. But this coach, Bruce Snyder, came in and he said, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And then he started putting the rubber to the road, and I was like, oh, this guy's the real deal. Let's get going. And we started to formulate that winning program that came at the end of Bruce Snyder's tenure there. And we did a great job. But it was the first start of that. And sometimes that needs to happen. But I'm hoping that our players stay committed to each other, and then play for this next coach and get going, because you have a lot of pieces of the puzzle already. Let's put a couple more and get going, and hopefully the exact right Ron will do a great job with the head coaching position and get it hired, get the right person for us, and boom, away we go.
Oh, yeah. And one other thing, all those folks that keep saying, oh, yeah, this is it. Wilcox should have been gone. Carol Chris should have been gone. Knowlton should have been gone. Now we have new leadership. Here's something that Coach Wilcox always said, and we know this to be true. Step up, step in, write a check. All those people in the peanut gallery, write a check. Stop playing. Oh, we're not doing this. Everybody out there is paying to play. Paying to play. Cal thinks it's, Puff the Magic Dragon, and it's going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Write a check, commit to the NIL. That's where it is. Send it to the Grid Club. Send it to the Legends. Send it to the athletic department for all the men and women's intercollegiate athletics. Don't get me started. Stop chomping your mouth and pay a check. I'll see you at the bank, baby.
Man, I just knew it was a matter of time before Ahmad, before we got on. He was keeping it really low key and subtle. You have no idea. And then all of a sudden, the fire
all that chirping from the stands. Man, go get me a beer.
Well, hey, I got to tell you guys, I mean, like, just to give you a sense of what we're up against, right? Virginia Tech, as an example, in the ACC, not only did they just hire James Franklin, right, who put together all these 10-win seasons there at Penn State, but they just approved $229 million for their athletic department on top of hiring James Franklin. So, this is the new era, and we've got to step up to the plate, and we got to be ready to do what it takes to make that investment to have a really good winning program. You got to invest in it. So anyway, I have some thoughts on big game, but just got to say your comments there on Justin. And yeah, I want to thank him as well, because he's always represented the university tremendously as well. Rock solid individual. So yeah, talking about the game, however, the big game. And it was kind of funny. I was mentioning this, and Ahmad and I had done some other podcasts kind of leading up as pregame. And I kept on talking about how I was hoping that we'd be able to build off of our momentum after having beaten Louisville. And a close friend of mine kind of caught wind of that when I was mentioning it to him as well. And he's all like, Rez, there's just one game. And didn't we just barely win? Does that count as momentum? And I guess, he had a point there. But looking at the game, it was just a strange thing that we felt like we were the better team. We felt like it was only a matter of time before we would just get it together, that we would start getting in rhythm offensively. But when we had the 2 fumbles that turned into scoop and scores, right? 14 points given up in the first half just on that. And we were down at the half 14-10. My good friend Nate Brown had this comment he shared with me, just sent me a text. He says, if we can keep their offense on the field, we should be okay. And so there was this general feeling, at least at half, that, we were going to be able to get this together somehow, right? Like, yeah, it was not a good situation, but we would be able to turn it around. But, it's like one of those things that we've seen time and time again, right? You let a team that maybe shouldn't be able to play with you hang around long enough and they get confidence. And that's another thing I know that, Jark, you'd mentioned many times, like, it's confidence. Like, if you play with confidence, it changes everything, right? So you throw out those records. You guys have both noted it, big game, anything can happen. Oh, that's exactly what happened. But it certainly didn't help that we had so many turnovers and penalties. 3 turnovers turned into 21 points for the Cardinal. We had 13 penalties for 123 yards. And Stanford scored 17 points in the second half. The 31 points that they scored on us were the most points they've scored all season. And, by the end of the game, we just looked demoralized and certainly didn't play with the same passion that Stanford brought to the game. And we have repeatedly noted throughout all of these little weekly recaps, we have been unable to establish the run. And that happened again. When you account for the sacks that we had, were 5 sacks that we gave up, we had a total of 12 net yards rushing on 26 attempts. And that's just horrible. So there's just no way around it. Never got into a rhythm. I do have some stats to throw out, and I may as well run through them real quickly here. But the individual play of the players, so there were some standouts. Tron Reza, 9 catches for 104 yards. He seems to always come up big in big games. Jacob DeJesus was targeted a ton of times. 14 catches for 96 yards. And Jaron Kiave Sangapulatele was 33 of 49 for 269 yards and ran for a 7-yard touchdown. Abram Murray kicked a 40-yard field goal. Luke Farrelly had 10 tackles. Defensive tackle Derek Wilkins batted down 2 passes. One thing that was surprising is that Cade Uluave had only 1 tackle in the game. And, could be because he's coming back from that injury, right? And he did contribute, I think, on that blocked field goal, right? And fell on the ball there. He was going to try to scoop it up and run in for a touchdown himself, but maybe because he had that injury with a club, he wasn't able to pick that up, and that's a real turning point as well. And there's all these things that happen. But anyway, that's pretty much all that I've really got to say, except I guess I'll also just say it's one thing since I'm running my mouth, is that we have got to turn around this pathetic stat where we, coming out of a bye week, we just look terrible with whoever we play against. Over the past 5 years or so, we played against some teams where you look at the schedule and say, oh, that's a win. They don't have any wins on the season, or, maybe they have 1 win. Like, we'll get that win. And coming off the bye, when you have all that time to prepare, you figure, okay, it's going to be a W for us. And it's almost every time we've lost. It's horrible. And that has to turn around and change.
Most people will say that's coaching. No matter what, you have to get and the head coach admitted that many times. He says it starts with me and then in my coaches, and we got to get these guys prepared. And so that's where it starts. But the players play. Coaches can't play. Players have to respond, and they have to come with it as well. So it's a total team effort on this loss. It was pretty bad. I mean, I gotta give like Drew Polidor made a couple really nice hits, nice plays. He jumped over the wing and blocked blocked the field goal. He was trying. I don't know if I can mention a whole lot of guys that were playing at that level, but they ran the ball right through us. That's what irks me. because our defensive line was getting double teamed, and we weren't stepping in there and stuffing the ball and getting it backwards. But you know what? It's spilled milk right now because it's the next day. However, like I've said before, somebody has to step up mid-game and say, guys, this is it. This ain't us. We got to turn this thing around, no matter how they say it or whatever. But as I was telling some of my buddies here at the big game luncheon on Friday, there's not a lot of cohesiveness because a lot of guys are new, and they hadn't been to late night at Top Dog. They hadn't gone fishing out at the water hole over here in Tilden Park. Haven't been golfing in Tilden Park together, to the point where in the moment someone can turn to you, grab your face mask, and say, "Get your butt moving. Let's go. You gotta make that tackle. You gotta make that play." And when they do that, there's a lot of history there of that friendship and camaraderie that is built on. It's not built on just here and there joining together as a group for the first year. There's a lot of history there. So that in a sense is what's missing in college football, to tell you the truth. That's why you're seeing ups and downs, because you don't have these connections and you don't have these guys who can rely on each other at the umpteenth time and say, "Hey, get moving. I'll do my job. You do yours, and let's get it rolling." But we have to start right now. Kind of call each other out at the moment and stop the slide and get the momentum changed. And that's a hard thing to create. And that's a hard thing to create for people who haven't been around each other for a very long time, who can't totally trust each other. So we got to get a little bit more cohesiveness with a lot of our players so that there can be those exchanges so that we can put our foot in the ground and change the direction of the momentum.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of thinking about where am I going, or where do I want to be at next year, versus being where you are, being in the moment and being intentional. You can't get to where you think you want to go if you're not winning games. You're not going to be where you think you want to go if you're not making the tackles or making the catches or stopping the play or stepping up and being the playmaker. So folks have to get out of their feelings and get out of their heads and realize that in the here and now is where they should be, and not the there and then. And it's about integrity. It's about integrity. It's about being accountable. It's about being a teammate. It's about knowing your role and your responsibility, and knowing that there's a commitment that you need to abide by with the person that's sitting right next to you, playing right next to you, attempting to get the ball to you. And those were some freak fumbles. I mean, as soon as the ball got kicked out of his arm, it wasn't smashed out. It got kicked. Almost the same thing with a running back. He was spun around, and it wasn't a punch, and it's a scoop and go. Even so that when the Stanford guy picked it up, he was shocked. He stood there and looked around, and then he ran. It was all surprising, but so much for the game. I mean, I think look, it is what it is. And like any situation, a bad play, a bad game, it's on the next. We've got SMU, and there's no telling. There's a reason for folks to want to go in there and play a great game from what we experienced last year in the bowl. And this is an opportunity. The world doesn't end. There's opportunities for us to go play in the whatever yuck bowl. So keep your heads up. This is not a song and dance, it's not a rah-rah speech, but this is the life that you live as a student athlete. This is the life you live as an athlete. It happens that way. And for those people who thought the record made a difference, look, I already shared that story before. I think we were 3-8, 2-9, and we blew Stanford out to have them not go to the Peach Bowl many years ago in 1980 at Cal. So the world doesn't stop. This is what we're doing. But be careful for what you wish for, because just like the ticket prices went up this year across the board, ticket prices are going to go up again. So all that chirping, once again, you might have to do it at home on your couch or stand outside in the parking lot and enjoy the game on your TV or your radio. But to get inside, you better come in with Cal pride.
I agree with you, Ahmad, in the sense that it's not going to always get better when you make these changes.
No,
So you got to be careful with what you wish for. So all you people who've been saying lose Justin and all that stuff, we're in our third bowl game in a row. Yes, we've been 6-6, the last 2 years, and it could be a 6-6 year again. And some would say you're just being mediocre, but you know what? There's teams that are less than mediocre, less than
Yes.
6-6. You
Yes.
know, so don't play that game, because to get to 6 wins is an achievement, and this team has earned that right to go to a bowl game. And it's nothing to be scoffed at. It's something that they should be proud of and that they earn. And they've done a great job with earning it. But they got one more. They get 7. That's even better. But
Yep.
but all in all, if any kids are listening, any of the football players, know that this is your team, and if you want this to be better, this is you guys.
Yep.
And new coach, new sayings, new terminology, all that. But no matter what, when we suit up again, this is your team. Once the team takes over and becomes, when the team takes over and is in control of their own purpose, the coaches don't need to do anything. Those guys will take it themselves and run with it.
That's
The
right.
best teams do that. The best teams will take the coaching, say, "Okay, coach, we got this," and then get on that field and go run it down someone's throat or go knock the dog out of them. But this is to the players. This is their team. However you want this team to be is where you're going to go. So if you guys come together, you guys will be great. Go do the best thing you can and go win these last 2 games for Justin, you know? But don't you ever use this as an excuse. Your time is limited. Utilize it properly. And I wish you nothing but the best.
You got to live in the moment, and you got this opportunity, and you want to close out strong. And, I certainly hope that we have good attendance for this final game of the regular season at Memorial, right? I mean, everybody's talking about how we don't want to be relegated. We don't want to be left behind. Well, people show up. Like, let's show the nation that we are there to support the team. This is a consideration. If they see empty stadiums, you think they say, oh, these people don't take football seriously. So if you care about Cal football, you better get your butts to Memorial and watch the game. Wilcox is no longer the head coach. Let's see what interim head coach Nick Rolovich can do. Let's see some fireworks. Let's see us put it on. So anyway, we're now 6-5 overall, 3-4 in the ACC. And we are playing against a pretty tough SMU team next week that has everything to play for. They just beat up on Louisville. It's a 5 p.m. Pacific kickoff time. It's being broadcast on ESPN2. But I certainly hope to see you there. You're going to see Shark and Ahmad and me there. There's no question about that. So we would love to see you there. But I think we're going to wrap it up right here, guys. And I just want to thank you both so much for your time. And trust me when I tell you that as soon as we have an announcement made on whoever will be the new head coach for the California Golden Bears, we will release a special episode about that as quickly as we can. That's going to do it for this week's football recap episode. We'll release our final regular season football recap next Monday. And then we're back to featured guests and Cal history episodes. We're also planning to add in a Cal basketball episode on a regular basis, so look for that. Thank you so much for tuning in. We sincerely appreciate all of you out there listening and watching. And remember, if you live in Richmond, please vote for my co-host, Ahmad Anderson, to be the next mayor of Richmond. There's no question he would do amazing things for the city of pride and purpose. This podcast is entirely a labor of love and a reflection of how much we love our university. Please help grow this podcast by telling the whole damn world about us. Just tell all your friends to go to tellthewholedamnworld.com. We celebrate all things Cal and the prominent people who are passionate about the University of California. Do you feel Cal is the center of the universe? Do you bleed blue and gold? We want you to tell the whole damn world about it. Go Bears!
Go Bears!